And we are live. Hello there, ladies.
We're live, are we?
Another wonderful episode of Biscoy Conversations, and you join us on us dragging in part 2, which is technically our redo.
Yeah, story behind that we'll go on to, but carry on.
Today we'll be going in, our next order, which will be, what are we doing? We're doing 40 to 21, aren't we?
40 to 21 of the worst films ever made, yes.
We will be dragging up from the mud the previous shit that nobody else wanted, that was thrown out into the garbage, that we managed to find in the trash.
Totally, we're going well into the underground now, aren't we?
Are giving it back to you, the people. This is going to be shit.
We've been instructed to stay away. I mean,
watch this.
We did a run through of this a week ago, and the event was cursed. We had about a week of housefly infestation, which is obviously because we talked about that forbidden film.
Yeah.
And when we fought that, we managed to get the conservatory free for the only time in the week that it was infested by houseflies. And then we had another problem, didn't we?
Yeah, we had a microphone reception problem, which was blipping in and out, and we also had internet problems as well on the previous.
And we never have internet problems.
No, ever. We've got insane internet. We pay for it through the nose to make sure that it is perfect. You know, we could host a North Korean fucking StarCraft.
We could do half of NATO on our internet, but for some reason it wasn't working this time.
These series of podcasts that's being part 2 have been cursed from the get-go, and it kind of adds to the mystique and hilarity.
It's true. It's true. I mean, first of all, we were only speculating it might be the forbidden film, but it is a forbidden film. It's this.
If you would like to join in with us today, by the way, we are hosting our coffee-themed. Ross has given up coffee, but is breaking his rule very kindly.
Yeah, I ended up in A&E on Saturday because of too much coffee.
It's not funny.
I've had 2 coffees a day since. Man, it really hurt. I wasn't breathing in properly. The lot.
Concerned. You went straight away. We were actually going to do this podcast on that day, but it was postponed.
Yeah, and then was that. But I looked at some of the films we're going to be discussing today, and it's like
benched. You were benched, and now we've got you back on there.
I need some vices.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just give you a couple of examples before we go in. If you do want to hear about a film called, say, The Elf Bowling Movie or They Saved Hitler's Brain, this is the podcast for you.
Absolutely.
I reckon we're only speaking to a very small portion of the internet here.
Ben and Arthur, Reefer Madness. The list goes on, and we can't wait to
and down. It goes down.
We're going to get worse from here. This is going to get absolutely only trotted through the mud. It's going to be up to your knees.
Yeah, it was pretty. Eyebrows. It was pretty hard last time, but in fact, even though we had a recording that didn't work, we have at least had a practice, and we know how to reel them off a bit and keep some of these fuckers brief because they're horrible.
And we've got White Russians to soak them down with because beer just was not cutting it. We found it through the last podcast.
And we ran out of beer.
Gone with the top shelf on this bastard.
Yeah, we were halfway through. We were scrounging around the house for any booze that would have broken it up, and it wasn't doable. Absolutely. It was really hard. This one might be really hard, but we've had a bit of practice, so we'll at least reel them off. Right, let's go through the rules again. Let's go through the rules.
Please, Ross, would you take us through rules 1 to 3?
Happily. Right, each film is to be criticised in turn, in reverse order, starting from good-bad to bad-bad. We are allowed, rule number 2, we are allowed to reference other films on the list if it is relevant. And number 3, we cannot mention the name of the forbidden film, our worst film ever made. But we are allowed to get angry about it any time we choose.
Absolutely, and go off on enormous rants about how
pits of the earth, insult to all cinema, make you wish it was never invented. That's how bad the film is.
It's physically painful to actually discuss.
It will make you sick in 5 minutes.
It is horrible. Anyway, let's go on to our first one. Number 1 of today. We have
number 40 on the list is Turkish Avengers. So, would you like to start this one, or shall I?
Absolutely. So, our scene opens up with a Spider-Man, what we believe to be Spider-Man, who is killing a young lady who is up to her neck in sand by backing a boat propeller into her face.
So, it's very un-Avengers-like.
Yes, absolutely. We're going straight into it, and they get quite sort of gritty with it. We're immediately exposed to blood and gore and...
Immediately, yeah.
Absolutely.
And no budget, no money was spent on this film. This is another Turkish film from the 1970s, I might add.
We're pretty sure as well, but
Trash.
I think at one point, I can't remember, I think he does actually have have the sexual relations with somebody against their will. I'm pretty sure that Spider-Man does
pretty
actually
sure that
rape
happens.
somebody
It's
within
disgusting.
the film. It goes from 0 to 10 very fast and is quite uncomfortable. But at the same time as well, there are areas of such absolute stupid, nonsensical rubbish in it that one finds it hard to take it seriously. So it is actually quite...
Particularly, Spider-Man's costume is basically a like a Green Man outfit, but a Spider-Man one. And he's the least intimidating thing in the world, isn't he?
Yeah. And
he's this skinny bloke. I think he's wearing glasses underneath the costume as well.
He has multiple doppelgangers as well at one point.
Yeah. There is a Turkish Captain America.
Oh, yes, as well, absolutely.
Who has like a plastic shield.
Thor version of a Thor or something? No, not a Thor. Hulk. There's kind of a Hulk as well.
I think so, but
anyway, that's pretty much Turkish Avengers, though.
We don't need to talk about the film anymore.
Really? So let's go on to number 2.
Number 39. We're actually embarking on a pretty big subject here. This is a Neil Breen film. You may remember last time we discussed Twisted Pair. This time we are going. This is the episode where we're going to be talking about
Neil Breen, quite not exclusively, but we will be going delving into the mixed machinations of random, weird, and uncomfortableness.
Yeah, and this is a weird one.
Man.
At number 39, I Am Here Now. I don't remember what order it goes. It's not the first film he made. It's not the last film he made, but I can tell you he did not improve.
We opened the first scene though with Neil Breen as Cyborg Jesus
in the middle of the Nevada desert. Of course, we spoke about this last time. Neil Breen has a serious ego problem. It's overpowering, and it's evident in this opening shot, and is actually evident in every shot. I was going to say in just this film, but it's actually in all of his films. So Cyborg Jesus, it cross cuts with him wearing a mask he's got on from some Halloween shop,
yes. And it kind of like so the most scenes where he slowly turns and it flicks in and out of him wearing this terrible Halloween costume, like Smithy's level type one, and then back into regular.
He seems to believe if you put random shit in films, the symbolism is implied and already makes sense when it doesn't. So he's got these.
He doesn't seem to necessarily do it for entertainment value necessarily. He seems to do it for like sort of self-proving something, like or trying to very distantly relate it to something for himself. Which you don't know.
I think all of his films, if they mean anything artistic at all, it's about he's got some vendetta against the world because the whole world has rejected him, but he doesn't realise it's because he's a total creep, and you wouldn't spend 1 minute around this bloke.
He's a naked dude in the woods with a plastic sword in pitch blackness.
In his late 50s,
thrusted out, trying to get money that he's imagining is.
And being in these films is the only chance that any girl will be around him. So you actually reckon there's 2 actresses in this film. I say actresses, but he's just perving on them for the entire movie. And there's one scene where the swimming pool scene. So they're on lilos, and for about 15 minutes,
and the lady that dies as well.
Yeah. For about 15 minutes, the camera is just perving on these 2 girls in swimwear in the swimming pool, while some bloke in some suit is constantly loosening his tie.
So Neil Breen has a go at the corrupt businessman politician dude, which is.
But you know exactly what he gets out of this, don't you?
Yeah, there's some form of perverted gratification, which is obtained by this man.
He's putting it lightly.
Taking his tie off and going, "The gifts are good," and we spend about 4 minutes with this man undoing and redoing his tie whilst he's watching these 2.
Yeah, totally.
And then.
And it's excruciating to watch, isn't it? You go, oh god, just end the scene.
Well, with another theme of using said swimming pool, we're pretty sure it's probably the same one, but the other end of the swimming pool, he's holding a woman who gets shot by a sniper rifle who dies, and then he's just holding her.
That's double down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's later on. That will be brought up. That's got the famous testicle shot of Neil Breen. There's very little of Neil Breen you don't end up seeing in his films.
He has multiple ass shots as well that you're not ready for, that are 10 times worse than anything Tommy Wiseau could ever run.
Yeah. At least Tommy Wiseau put the effort in down at the gym. It's a spindly little weirdo.
Bloody horribleness that's going on.
Right. So one scene in particular I want to talk about towards the end. So there's basically very little plots, but when the plot ends, there's still about half an hour left of the film. He fills this up with stock footage you've already seen from the film of him in the desert. But importantly, there's a bedroom scene with one of the girls. and it's horrible.
The mask comes back as well.
She's lying down on the mattress, and he is leering over her, staring down at her, about this distance between his and her face, and
between life and death.
And he just holds on to it, and oh god. How much do you have to pay this guy to put up this shit?
It must have been a mountain. He has large budgets, but it doesn't seem to go anywhere on screen.
You don't know where he's spending money.
Evidence of where his money's gone. Anyway, that's enough of that silly, strange man. That was I Am Here.
Stanley, that's not enough of that, because we've got another one, number 38.
On the list, I'm afraid, is a brand new and horrible one, but we will delve a tiny bit further.
All right, so this is Neil Breen's answer to The Room, really?
Is Fateful Findings at number 38. Fateful Findings. So we have nothing.
Oh, where do we begin? Right, so to begin with, he's hit by a car. He ends up in hospital, which is basically a room in his house.
Yeah.
There's some nurse leering. Yeah. There's a nurse leering over him, and he falls madly in love with her and realizes that she is actually some childhood friend. And
yeah,
I don't even like talking
know
about
as
this
much
film.
As you haven't seen the film, you know as much as we do that we're talking about at this point. So he's just waiting.
How do you explain a Neil Breen film without seeing it?
You can't. It's so obtuse.
Not in an artful way as well. You think there's something to gain from it? At least it's sort of outsider art, and it's not.
He falls short of
fucking terrible.
Being...
They're huge vanity projects. This one is no exception. Basically, all the characters in this are leering over him and worshipping him all the time. Now, there's another thing as well. The government are after him, but he's also working for the government, and he's trying to unlock some global apartheid conspiracy thing, isn't he?
Yeah, that are trying to take out... isn't Fateful Finding as well the one where he has that montage of businessmen and... a corporate, politicians that take their own lives.
That's Pass-Through.
That's Pass-Through. No, it's not.
Pass-Through is really dark.
Oh,
okay, let's reference this other film. Pass-Through, he actually ends up wiping out half of the world.
Oh, yeah, by himself.
By himself.
Yeah.
And he's leering at the camera, thinking he's a good guy.
Yeah,
it's totally dark. You just want to kill him just for doing it and attempting it. Fuck that. Okay, let's go back to...
Fucking enough of that. Right, anyway.
Fateful Findings.
Okay. Oh, God, I hate this movie.
I hate it as well.
Yeah.
God!
And then there's a scene in the shower with this underage girl who it's easily script written that she has to kind of try and seduce Neil Breen.
And she's 15,
yeah,
barely.
Yeah, she's like 15. Like, oh, God. And then, yeah, she like takes her robe off and he's like, no, you got to put that back on. And then he like puts the robe back on her again. And then she sits down on the side of the tub, and there's this great moment where she breaks the fourth wall, looks
and just stares at the camera like, what the fuck am I doing here?
And she has this look on her face like Bugs Bunny, like what are we doing? What, this guy's fucking crazy.
And yeah, he doesn't seem to notice this and edit it out the film.
No, he leaves it in.
It's full of rubbish like this as well.
There's one more great moment as well before we move on to the next movie. Is that bit where he and that actress, the lady. We got this theory that she's potentially a porn actress with the way that she acts, but
she's definitely doing this for a visa.
I definitely know. Like she's definitely of international origin, and she's attempting a very poor American accent. Like she's really trying very hard to drag this thing out the script as best she can. Anyway, they're in Neil Breen's office, and he's got this bowl of spinach on a load of books, and then the spinach very slow. It's teetering, and then it falls off and spills, and the pair of them look at each other and go.
What is amazing about Neil Breen films is the timing is constantly off.
Yeah,
it's not just the editing.
Yeah.
It's the fact that these people cannot believe what they're saying to each other, and then they're going through the script. And Neil Breen is not even human. He's an alien.
And then they start tearing each other's clothes off as well.
Awkwardly and slowly.
Yeah, like really kind of slowly. And they're not like really kissing. They're just kind of like, like they're kind of jabbing their faces at each other. Like,
and laughing like,
I'm having fun.
And it happens constantly and for too long throughout the film.
And this discussion of this shitty piece of movie has gone on long enough as well.
It's almost because last time I asked you the question, would you recommend this film to someone? And what did you say?
Fuck no.
You said yes, and I was like, actually, if you want a totally rabbit hole weird film,
I was wrong.
This might be the only one. No, I gotta counter that.
I was wrong.
I've seen it twice, and I wouldn't watch it a third time, except maybe in 10 years' time, and I'd forgotten all about it. But if you really want,
I can't even see myself doing that. I would think about it and go, "Oh, God, remember that time with the Neil Breen we used to watch?" And then I go,
"Why did we do that?"
Let's never let that happen again.
That's actually a good point. When we did this discussion last time, and we were having a really hard time,
we both had an epiphany in the middle.
A massive epiphany that I've never had with bad films. We said
we both looked at each other and simultaneously agreed we're never going to watch.
I'm never watching any of these films again. None of them.
Somebody yesterday as well. I've got to tell you about this. Somebody asked me, or they told me about a bad movie. They're like, tell Will through Jack that he needs to watch this film. And I said, okay, I'm not going to watch it.
I've seen them all. I've beaten you.
Yeah,
I've won. I don't need to watch it anymore.
I don't need to watch any more. And this list and these videos are proof of it. Right, on to the next one. For the love of God, please, no more Neil Breen. Even though there's going to be 2 more of this.
Shit, we got
come up on the list.
Number 37 is Ben and Arthur. It's like The Room, but gay and even less of a budget.
Yeah, but with guns. I hated this movie.
And guns.
I fucking hated it.
I thought I got some joy out of this movie until I ended up discussing it last time, and I realised I fucking hate this movie as well.
Why did you like it?
It's so dark.
It's terrible. They have I don't even remember really what happens in it. I hated it. I just sat there.
I remember what happens.
Okay,
I had to Google it actually, if I'm honest, just to remind myself, and it was like, oh yeah, okay, I remember. So basically, gay marriage. Brother doesn't like the fact one of them's gay. Thinks he's possessed by demons. So it's sort of a religious redemption story. That's what he's trying to attempt. And the relationship isn't counterbalanced with anything a bit nice. It becomes this gay domestic violence story as well. Now, when I reminded myself of that film, I was like, why did I find this funny? That's not funny.
I don't remember.
That's not fucking funny, is it?
I'm so glad this film has taken up no space in my brain at all.
The only thing funny about it is it's so melodramatic. So melodramatic. Like every scene, someone is getting angry at something that's actually quite stupid instead of the thing they should be angry about. And you're going, what the fuck are these people doing? Like all the set design, there is no set design. They wallpapered the place and painted things on it to make it look like a church or someone's apartment. It's such an ugly looking film. It's so ugly.
For me, I thought it was going to be further down the list. We were talking about this on one of the previous podcast of this came up during Hobbs and Shaw of our discussion.
Fuck Hobbs and Shaw. Don't bring up that film.
What is funny? Because of the fact that if something is funny, then I get a lot more enjoyment out of it than I do if something is good. Then it's like it really takes the edge off bad movies, doesn't it?
I'm enjoying this so much more than last time. Last time was so depressing.
You really have to take big pulls off your beer, and then all of a sudden it's gone, and you're like, oh no!
Shit, I thought no better.
To go through a wee, and then and it takes even longer to get through a film. Whereas this one, you kind of have one slug, and you're like, fuck, right, okay, next one, fuck this film, Anyway, yeah. Speaking of which,
please
next film.
Let's never talk about Ben and Arthur again.
Never again.
I wouldn't recommend it.
We don't have to. Fuck this film. Fuck Ben and Arthur. Don't watch it for the love of God.
Right at number 36, a film that ought to have been close to our heart but isn't, is Miami Connection.
Oh God, yeah, the soundtrack is hilarious. That was the one winning thing it had for it.
We're the tough guys,
and we're gonna go against the ninjas. That's basically it, and they repeat.
So Miami Connection,
4 minutes.
Right, so Miami Connection, doing this from memory, was made by a South Korean martial arts instructor who basically remortgaged his house several times and sold his business to produce a film which is going to show America the wonders of martial arts on screen. Of course, he hadn't seen Enter the Dragon, made nearly 15 years earlier. So didn't realise he totally missed the boat. And this film fucking sucks. It ought to have been easy. If you've seen a kung fu film, The plots are never clever. In fact, they're all the same.
They're quite cliched, and they're quite easy to bash them out. You know?
And that's the point. You know, it's easy to do, and you're
yeah.
supposed to be celebrating the martial arts. This film completely missed the point.
Big tough guy, 2 or 3 different martial arts playing off against each other.
Master gets killed. Student finds other master, gets trained, cures bad guy. That happens in 99% of all martial arts films.
Yeah.
But not this one.
Yeah,
You've got a group of friends who study together. They're in high school, even though they look in their 30s.
I was going to say, everyone has large beards and stupidly big hair.
Yeah. They're in a band together. They train together. They fight bad guys together. What else do they do together?
I've never fornicate together with them.
It's hilarious. They just walk around with their shirts off and sort of towel whip each other. Like, so what the fuck are these guys up to?
All the people next door are just looking at them. It's like,
those guys are there.
We're moving in a month's time. We'd have to put up with this. You'd never sell
Get
that.
the fucking anal sex down in there! It's 3 in the morning!
You'd never sell that flat. Next door is horrific.
That would take years to get out.
Yeah, absolutely. Landlord would hate them.
Oh, God.
The agreement. I can't.
Hang on, let's get the UV lights out. But it totally happened.
Anyway, yeah, that's basically Miami Connection. I've kind of
hang on. Miami Connection. There's more things wrong with it.
There's motorbikes.
Yes.
And then
it's very melodramatic.
And it's very long. I remember it being quite long.
It's about 2 hours long.
Yeah.
It's very melodramatic. Like, there's this one guy whose parents die, and he's crying about it for a long, long time. And I think one of them comes back to life at the end. He nearly gets killed himself. He gets run through with a katana, but somehow survives and meets his dead dad at the end. The main guy, bless him, the martial arts instructor, he can't speak English. He knows about 200 words tops at this point. And so even though he's got a lead role and he's doing a lot of the dialogue, you just feel really sorry for him because you can't hear him. You've got to bear in mind, he rinsed his life savings to make this. So you're watching this, knowing this in hindsight, and it's very depressing, isn't it? That's why it wasn't higher up the list. It wasn't really, I could get a lot of laughs out of it. It was it's like, Jesus Christ, mate, just stop this film now. Don't waste your money.
I remember all the laughs being reasonably quite the same. So the moment you've laughed at that one thing that one time, it's difficult to laugh at the exact
Then the music just sucks.
Just repeat it, and then it's 2 hours of basically exactly the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. So it's quite hard to enjoy it for those reasons. Yeah,
quite agree.
Yeah,
but credit to this bloke. This film got discovered about 15 years later on the internet, and he ended up touring the world doing like late night shows and
telling
stuff.
people not to make films like that.
Yeah, it was probably the greatest message you could take from this. Yeah, don't waste your life making this shit. Anyway,
momentary break. We have a teapot filled with Kahlua.
Oh, I was hoping we'd leave it a total mystery, just in case we were drinking water and cold tea together. You know.
Nah, we're drinking.
We got a banger next, so let's just get another drink.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna leave this here so we can make small talk.
Okay.
So good day.
It's, yeah, pretty good. Fantastic day actually. So speaking about it.
Oh, that's lovely. Very nice.
Yeah, wonderful.
We touched hands. I was still talking about Ben and Arthur.
Yeah,
and Miami Connection.
COVID's in the air. I can see it in your eyes.
If COVID doesn't take you up, can I? Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking.
We'll be flying at an altitude of fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please keep your arms and legs inside the vagina at all times. Shout out to Mr. Daddy Stevie Mac on All Gas No Brakes fucking podcast. Please, everybody, check that out on
All
Instagram.
Gas No Brakes is
if you haven't already.
The bloke is a hero. I mean,
we are not paid to plug this at all. It is a sensational podcast. It is
fucking do it.
Contemporary gonzo journalism at its finest. It really is, and it's not even gonzo
journalism. And the king of memes at the same time.
Yeah, they write themselves, and the crazy people that he runs into.
Shuffling.
Just
Sinatra.
Roofing. So I'm in the mall with the milk, and I'm chopped up. I'm like 20%.
She's getting a Hillary Clinton business suit. My dick's going 60%, right? Oh, thank you. Done that for me.
Want to do Pepsi challenge?
I mean, I got cup.
God. Lunatic.
God.
Double cream. Support your local cows. Oh my God! Wow, that was thick.
Support your local Mr. Daddy.
Support your local Mr. Daddy. Go out to the pub soon, everybody. They're opening soon.
What's a pub?
Absolutely. It's this place where people a very long time ago used to convene all together and get absolutely mangled. And what you would do is you would go up to the local proprietor or owner of said business and you would give them money. And you know what they give you? Any booze they were serving on the premises of your choice.
That doesn't exist.
It does. And it's opening.
Only
This Saturday, our first few are opening.
Only heaven has places like that.
Go and support your local. Go and get shit-faced. Fuck it. You've not been able to for so many
it
months.
works.
It's time. Let's do this.
I don't believe you, but that's fun.
We're making our own bar here, actually, which we'll be featuring on a later podcast. Anyway, let's go back to this tyrannical, terrible...
Yeah, that was a nice break, wasn't it? But sadly, we've got other films to talk about. Right, so...
But this next one is fantastic.
One of the most notable films on this list.
Oh, God, it's really enjoyable. Okay, so, may I?
My pleasure.
Okay, we are starting off with L. Ron Hubbard's addition to this list, which is of course Battlefield Earth at number what number were we at? Number 35, Battlefield Earth. L. Ron Hubbard writing
utter shit,
absolute terrible shit. Yeah, wrote more science fiction than any other human being in the history.
Oh
of
shit!
Yeah, since the late.
If this
40s.
is the best one, you can imagine how bad everything else was.
Absolutely. And it features oh God, what's his name again? With the dreadlocks.
Oh, what is that man's name?
What's the guy's name?
It's not as if he's been in any other bad films.
He was in Grease and Pulp Fiction. So many good.
Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah. Can you help us out here?
Wiseau.
Yeah, Tommy Wiseau. Yeah, Tommy Wiseau. No, not Tommy Wiseau.
He invokes the spirit of Tommy Wiseau.
Absolutely, he does.
He's
sometimes.
spectacularly bad in this film, isn't he?
He was also in an early film as well that we were discussing. He was a bad guy and he smoked a pipe.
Oh, Sexual Punisher.
Yeah, exactly.
The Punisher. Right.
I've completely drawn a blank. I genuinely can't remember what this man's name is.
It's John Travolta.
John Travolta.
You knew exactly who it was, didn't you? Right, the film is
John Travolta wearing terrible makeup with a poor Forrest Whitaker being both of them dragged through this absolute megalomaniac.
They're loving it. That's what's funny about it.
They kind of like it as well. Like everyone on there's also that bloke from the Shaving Ryan's Privates as well on it, who's the sniper.
Yeah,
Mary Mother of God. You know, like,
much better film. So,
you know,
number 35, Battlefield Earth, is about these post-apocalyptic cavemen types visiting.
It's similar to Zardos, really.
Yeah, it's shit. There's some. Zardos relatively good, actually.
Zardos is better than this film. Watch Zardos over this.
Yeah, some spaceship comes to Earth. They're looking to occupy it, and it's basically like a resistance story. But oh god, does it make you sick? None of the cameras are straight. They seem to think it's more interesting if you constantly third man the camera all the time. Yeah, so you feel kind of queasy watching it.
Yeah, boring bits of standardized dialogue have lots and lots of moving camera shots on dollies.
Yeah.
Unnecessary.
The close-ups whenever someone says, "I need to go to the toilet." It's over there. Scenes start and they don't know how to go on unless they do something really stupid. Like people just get shot in the face out of nowhere, and people are like, "Oh no!"
The bar scene is worth a watch on YouTube, though. You can literally get most of the gist of this movie on YouTube. Try not to give money to most of the films.
No, it doesn't deserve any money, does it?
No.
What else can I? There's so much shit actually.
Stuff.
Before we go on to the
there's a lot of good quotes in it.
Before the fighter pilot bit, we'll go into so the main protagonist is a nobody to begin with. When he goes into this mothership, they teach him all the languages in the galaxy, and pretty straight away. Yeah, the whole film is rambling with backstory and subplot to try and build up this world, but it's utterly tedious, isn't it?
Yeah.
It makes no sense, and it's bullshit. You could have done it. You could have reeled it off in 5 minutes. Then they send him back down to Earth. Then the whole resistance thing happens, and most significantly, why this film is so bad is not only making you feel sick, it's How the fuck did a movie get this much budget and be so off the mark with reality?
Insane budget. And you should watch the when they're walking on the red carpet as well, and they're asking the actors about it and how excited they are about this movie.
John Travolta was convinced this was his masterpiece.
Yeah. He was like, "This is it. This is
how far
is
your head up your own ass to believe it after you just watched Battlefield Earth? You just be like,
"Oh, I feel sorry."
What the hell? I don't feel sorry for him.
Oh no. Yeah, but he's actually he's a good actor though.
It's one of those films that makes you not trust good actors.
If you've seen,
there's no genius to it.
If you've not seen him in The People versus O.J. Simpson, that he is fantastic in that. He plays the very first lawyer that O.J. Simpson actually hires in it, and it's brilliant. But in that movie though, he's that scene where he's in the bar. He's like, when you were only learning to crawl, I was being taught how to conquer galaxies. Oh god, quote from John Travolta in the film. And then he nearly kills Forrest Whitaker like 2 or 3 times, like really nearly kills his character on character, and then they just cut like Forrest Whitaker's like, "Oh, you've been funny," like his character has to respond to this very aloof and
again. They didn't know what to do with scenes, so this stuff just happens for drama.
Yeah,
and then it just carries on with more bullshit. But here's the most bullshit bit. So they're trying to take down this mothership. I think it's descended to Earth now. Or is it not descended to Earth and they've managed to take it into
was it like a
space?
Planet of the Apes type thing? Where it was meant to be, like, oh god, they were on Earth all along, but then they almost accidentally give it away the fact that they are on Earth.
So bear in mind, this film is certainly year 3000. Anything that is left of human civilization is 1,000 years old.
Not much has changed except they've got really.
However, they break into Fort Knox or somewhere and they find a load of fighter jets. They're still working. They also find a flight simulator, so
they can learn how to use
these cavemen suddenly understand what these things are for, how they're to be used, and use it to take down this alien mothership.
People that ride horses,
yeah,
and have bug fights in caves and throw poo at each
other. Flying fighter jets from the 20th century.
They're like, oh yeah, it just clicks for them. They're like, oh yeah, I remember how to do this. I remember
I've seen Independence Day. Yeah.
Ancestor knew how to do this. Yeah. Oh yeah, my great grandfather was Will Smith. Yeah, of course I know how to fucking do this. Oh yeah, no worry, mine was Tom Cruise. Highway to L. Ron Hubbard.
Did we give up when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Don't worry, he's on a roll.
Right,
that's enough of that.
Battlefield Earth.
God, we've done that one to death. We're on to one of my personal favourite pieces.
You can't really mean that. Number 34. Number 34 is Vampire's Kiss. Is this the first Nicolas Cage film?
Yeah, this is Nicolas Cage's favourite movie. This is his claim. We found, I think, 2 different quotes where he says this is his favourite movie that he's ever done, or his favourite piece. I think that he said, and it starts off where
so Nicolas Cage, isn't it?
He's this wealthy, horrible, gnarly business dude, and he brings this girl back to his apartment, and then he opens the window to get like, hey babe, I'm getting a bit of a draft going on in here. They cool the room down. It's so hard because Nicolas Cage is so hard, and then a bat comes into the room, and he like tries to fend it off, and she's going crazy, and she's like, oh no, there's a bat, and instead of being horrified by this or just kind of getting over it or anything like that, his character is turned on by the thought of the fighting this bat off, and then he throughout the course of this very long film for what it is, gets very turned on all the time by the thoughts of bats. It has recurring thoughts and sexual fantasies of bats, and eventually ends up believing himself to becoming a vampire.
I think it's supposed to be a sort of American Psycho thing.
Yeah, he's meant to be American Psycho.
But it doesn't work at all, and it's got none of the depth.
He has vampires' plastic teeth, and at one point he's like going around this club like Nosferatu. He's going and no one's like, he looks like somebody that's had a bad.
Okay, if you've ever been on YouTube ever, you've probably seen a film. Seen from this film.
Imagine like a mountain of like this, a dinner plate's worth of the strongest Mandy you've ever seen in your life, and then put it up Nicolas Cage's nose, put him in the middle of a club. That is exactly what he's doing in this scene. He's gurning his dick off.
Yeah, it's like the best Mandy you can find in small town Russia. You know, stuff that fucks you up.
Or something like that. And he's just like, and then he bites this woman's neck in the club. And oh yeah, there's a scene in the film as well where he you probably have seen it if you've seen any bad movie clips or anything like that, where he goes, he recites the entire alphabet. He goes, it's very simple. I need to know it's A B C D E F G H I, and then he like gets to Z, and then falls back on the couch.
And so yeah,
to his therapist, who doesn't seem to see anything remotely wrong with this, and is very bland.
It's another film that seemed
ridiculousness,
totally improv. They didn't really know what to do.
Yeah.
So this one of the main people in this movie ends up being his secretary, but she literally appears after about 15-20 minutes into the film to just do an odd task for him. And then they find out we don't have enough characters, so we need to make this poor girl a main character.
Yeah, you phrased it very well there. I think what we can take from that is the fact that they tried to make it like this, like as if it was real life. So as if this person was actually doing this in real life, but it kind of ends up of this poorly made dystopia that doesn't quite work or doesn't have any feeling towards reality. So you don't feel as if your heart's not connected to any particular motif within the plot at all. So you don't really care about it. So it's all you're like, oh no, look, Nicolas Cage is doing something stupid again. Here
I am watching it like, this is definitely a bad film and definitely what we're looking for.
We end up, to summarize the entire film though, at the end when Nicolas Cage is running down the street. I think he's holding a steak or something, and he's got blood coming down the side of his cheek, and it's done in the American Psycho fashion where he's done something heinous and horrible, and he's meant to be this rich businessman, and the cops don't care because he's been paid, he's a rich white businessman sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like, is it all in his head or?
Yeah, exactly. And he's going down the street going, I'm a vampire, I'm a vampire, I'm a vampire. And then that's basically the end of the film and the entirety of the film.
That's all you need to know about it as well, really. Round it off, the film was shit.
Yeah.
It was barely a film. I watched it and said, this is barely a film.
I laughed a lot. I found it.
Well, you have to laugh. It's the only thing that gives you any credit for it.
Yeah, but then that kind of gives it.
He's funny. I also hate him as well. I think about how he's got the sort of Dwayne Johnson syndrome where he's got very little talent and has earned that much money from it. And I just really get that.
So you hate Dwayne Johnson?
I really do.
I like him.
The first podcast, I had a major trigger as well. I realised one of my causes in this world is to hate that bloke.
I so hope you meet him. I really do.
So do I. Do you know what? I'm going to punch him for you as well.
Do you know what he'd do? He'd rip your leg off and beat you to death with it. Like fucking, what's his name? That primal...
Good. At least he knows I hate him. At least he'll know that I'm not the only one just playing up to his bullshit. I know your game. You've got no talent. You're in it for the money. And you totally got away with it. But I know what you're doing.
And then he'd kill you and they'd be like, you deserve that for being so horrible to that nice man.
What would you do if you met Neil Breen?
Neil Breen? I'd try and get a very good excuse to walk away from him as fast as possible. I'm imagining this isn't a party scenario.
Who would invite Neil Breen to a party?
Ask question one. Why am I in a party with Neil Breen? How did I get there?
Party is fucking lame.
Who spiked my drink so I ended up as...
That's the only way you end up in the party.
Yeah, exactly. How much Rohypnol would I have to ingest in order to wake up at one of parties? And
right.
Then the second question was what? I'd be like, that's Neil Breen. And then I'd blink, and all of a sudden I'd be in his presence. I would leave. There was no way.
Neil Breen, I've seen all of your movies. All of them suck.
Every one of them was worse than the last one.
Fuck you. Fuck you, Neil Breen.
Okay, right.
Anyway, that's crossed off the list.
Luke, that was number 34, Vampires Kissing.
Number 33.
33, which is Reefer Madness. Reefer Madness is a throwback classic, and it is
It's the oldest film. It's the oldest film on this list. 1936.
Wow, that's older than the Ed Wood ones.
Yes.
Wow.
Same year as the Spanish Civil War. Think about that.
Good lord. It's amazing.
Reefer Madness was funded by a right-wing Christian group. Surprise, surprise. And it's an anti-marijuana film. If anything, it ends up promoting it, because if we was anything like this, I mean, we know it's a bit boring, really, but this makes This is just hilarious. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's very ugly to look at. There's no money put into this film.
No.
It's mostly shot on set. There's no outdoor shots or anything. You're just having to watch these people with really dry dialogue. Do you want some Reefer? Oh, I don't know. Oh, go on. All the kids are doing it. Oh, okay, just one. And everyone freaks out.
He takes a hit and then he starts freaking out, and his eyes get really like sunken, and then he starts like having a really bad trip on it. And
yeah, there's a few mad characters in it. So you got this piano player, and when his hair is all over the place, and when he smokes, he plays piano even faster, and all the kids are going mad, dancing, really good, and everyone goes faster and faster.
This man's creating jazz. Stop him. And he occasionally goes off into this little phone booth in order to get another couple of hits, and he goes like, he kind of takes it between both of his forefingers of both of his hands,
like Trump drinking water.
Yeah, exactly. And,
doesn't get it.
As if you were feeding a single bee, like a small bit of honeydew, but you were the bee. And it's very strange. And he takes like a hit, and he like kind of like he blinks his eyes and then giggles to himself and goes back in the room and plays more piano again.
He's having a great time. He's the person in this movie having a great time.
And then the main gangster though, who's my favourite character. He spends most of the film shouting at everybody, giving them orders, and then goes into the kitchen through a side-on shot with a cutaway of the kitchen when everybody else is actually in the party room on the left-hand side of it. So you can see all this happening at the same time.
Yeah,
and he's
pounding roast dinners.
Demolishes chicken. That's all he does.
They're always saved in the fridge for him, so you can have a smoke, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm fucking ready for this."
And then it's like his poor, like
he's like full suit as well.
He's in his poor, like 30
comfortably eating.
Comes out and then just like takes this whole plate of this entire chicken, like it's in proper film Acme chicken, and puts it in front of him.
And mate,
just sits there, knife and fork, and just goes to town on
that
it.
man could give lessons on how to smoke. I mean, he just fucking nails it.
Oh, yeah, and he's absolutely lit throughout the entire film as well.
Because the last 15 minutes, the scare story about how marijuana causes the kids madness. He is really pounding it, and he ends up in this courtroom, and it's like he has been. Well, we were saying at the time, no one would smoke and get this high, and they were asking, "Hang on a minute, if you didn't sleep for about 5 days, and instead of breathing air, you just smoked, and you had no instincts telling you to stop, maybe you would get this high." He just walks in like.
Unless somebody spiked the strain of weed that he was smoking with crack. Salts.
It's basically freebasing, and someone should do a serious intervention now.
Somebody needs an investigation into what that man was actually smoking, which is definitely not weed.
It's when you have a culture of not teaching the kids about weed, they could end up freebasing and not even know it, like this guy.
You create a large underground system of people creating a product which is substandard and filled with dangerous chemicals which are liable to do actual harm to people. Which looks like is what.
And after you've learned
the cast of this movie,
after you've learned absolutely nothing about this film, they're like the final line in it is some commenter going, "Tell your kids." Tell your kids what? I didn't get anything from that.
You're just like, there's a lot of mixed signals going on here.
What should I tell them about? That this film is terrible.
Yeah,
that's the most likely thing I'm going to say.
Hey Dad, I just watched a really bad film. What was it, Timmy? Reefer Madness.
Son, you shouldn't be watching Reefer Madness. It causes insanity in the kids.
Anyway, that's basically the whole of Reefer Madness, though.
And more.
Absolutely. That is number 33, Reefer Madness. We go on to number 32, which was the Turkish Wizard of Oz.
The Turkish Wizard of Oz.
It does have one redeeming feature in it, though, which is the actual wizard himself. But let's start off on Dorothy.
Let's go straight on the cons, okay? So think of the nice Judy Garland Wizard of Oz. She's playing a 15-year-old girl. It's a coming-of-age story. She has a little dog. This film wasn't like that.
It's kind of like, and we follow this endearing character that goes through the world and then experiences very strange and odd things, tribulation, which, we feel like we all kind of go through. We can extrapolate our own fears and anxieties from this tale. You can't really do that with this one, because she's kind of a bit her skirt's a little bit too on the high side throughout the whole thing.
All the cast are lusting after her, and it's noticeable.
All the cast keep giving her weird looks all the time. And you're like, why is this happening? And her character kind of goes along with it.
They're
as well.
competing for her attention, and it's just wrong.
The Munchkins go with her, and they're also kind of included in this strange, overly horny cast of people that want to get into Dorothy's undergarment.
I thought it was one of the ugliest films in our whole list. Imagine what kitsch Turkish culture looks like in the mid-1970s. And you can imagine it's not very tasteful.
This is a pretty good window into that world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's well, anyway, though, we kind of get to the...
There is a wizard!
The wizard saves...
There is a wizard.
It doesn't save the movie as a whole. This film is, like, unsavable.
He gave us the only laugh in the entire film.
In the same way that if you hear the story of the Titanic going down for the first time, then you were to hear the story of the pastry chef at the end who got, the true story of the pastry chef who got absolutely shit-faced on all the fine liquors. And
how cold is it outside? Because it's fucking hot in here.
It is very warm in here.
I know.
Okay, go for it. The pastry chef who destroyed a mountain of some of the most expensive liquors on the entire planet, and then was the last person to get picked up by
coffee beans.
Oh, good lord! That was coffee beans just exiting.
We didn't use it. We're never going to use them. Actually,
the last person to be picked up by the lifeboat at the end of the film, and then and then actually survived the movie and then actually survived the Titanic disaster himself.
That's better already. Why didn't we do that an hour ago? I know we got flies and shit, but I would let myself get bitten. We didn't think that. Carry on.
Kept interrupting my story about the fact.
Sorry, I was really hot.
Story, that's a good story.
Start again. I wasn't listening.
Okay, well, terribly sorry. Yes, okay, so there's the pastry chef aboard the Titanic.
Yes.
When the Titanic went down, he seriously thought, right, nobody's going to go back for me, I don't think. So the long story short is that he got very drunk on all the incredibly expensive liquors on the boat, and then was the last person found alive floating in the water.
That's right, yeah.
The last person they dragged on board the lifeboat. Anyway, that real tale is the wizard to this movie. The wizard, right at the end of the film, comes in full, proper, fancy dress, going on.
His eyebrows are on point.
And has an enormous beard, and you can't really see his face, but he's got this big pointy hat with stars on it, and the robe with the stars.
He ain't a guy behind the curtain. He's an actual wizard.
He drops into place with this very much kung fu vibe to him, and then immediately enters our hearts on this set, and he is the person.
You saved the movie.
And everybody kind of broke.
Yeah, it was still a Titanic disaster, but
and then the movie finishes at the end. The moral of this movie is that the lifeboats did actually manage to get some people away from the disaster, but not everybody survived, and most of them died.
Did you know? This is Titanic fact for you, just a sidetrack. That a couple of months after the Titanic sank, they actually did a film called The Sinking of the Titanic, and they used survivors from the Titanic.
Did they have any bad flashbacks?
Probably, but we didn't think about that. It's one of the most sought-after lost films of the silent era.
Really?
Is Sinking of the Titanic. Yeah.
I should ask my brother about this. My brother's John's a huge Titanic. I can be
a fan of the Titanic.
I did not say fan. I was going to say informative.
It's of interest.
Historian, archaeological, interest.
Cool.
And he knows loads about it. He's watched all the films and the documentaries, and is fascinated by it.
Nice.
I must bring that up to him.
The
lost film.
Yeah, it's one of the great sought after films.
Oh, well, we are digressing though from the actual one. We've given you a pretty good rundown though of what Turkish Wizard of Oz at number.
It's not worth watching.
And now we're on to number 31.
Right, double down. If you want to talk about Neil Breen's Bullsack, now you're allowed to do it.
Okay. Hairy, rough, coarse, pointless, and in all senses of the word, we all wish that we hadn't seen it. Much like this movie.
Or Neil Breen.
Yeah.
Generally.
Yeah.
Double Down is his first film. It was made in 2004. Again, it's shot in the Nevada desert on no budget. He is working for the government, and again, the government are after him. He's in his car for the majority of the film with his laptop. Yeah, eating tuna. His laptops aren't actually turned on.
I was about to say he has numerous phones and laptops which are clearly not turned on or have.
Or not from this century.
Yeah, absolutely. have no cellular connection at all, and he spends most of it screaming into them or like stamping violently away with his hands at all of the keyboards on the laptops.
Yeah,
achieving not really much, but saying a great deal.
But he's also ill as well, so he's injecting himself with something. So straight away, we had another theory here. What if this man is just eating tuna and doing heroin in his car in the desert?
And when we thought that, the entire film actually kind of made sense. If you watch it and then
none of the stuff in it actually happened. It was all like a flashback or some sort of trippy heroin-induced vision of how he wants his life to be, which is some government agent.
And at one point as well, he is in some dead-end tin shed as well, surrounded by cans. He's strewn across the floor with a load of other people living on blankets. And the whole thing is just very
greasy.
Yeah, greasy is the word I would use to describe this.
Fucking greasy.
Definitely. That's basically a summary of the entire movie. Not really much.
Totally greasy.
Is it right at the end though that he kills half the population of the planet though, and then all the people die? Or is that
that's past through?
Okay. Well, basically that's what Double Down is though. Is tuna in a car.
He always wants to take revenge on all the people that have wronged him.
Tuna in a car, heroin, Neil Breen trying to escape him from the government. None of his laptops turned on. Don't watch it.
Yeah, that's him.
Absolutely.
That was say there,
Double Down.
Right.
Seeing Neil Breen for a very long time,
but he's coming back.
He will make a return with one of the worst movies that we have ever had the misfortune of coming across. I hated this movie so much.
I've seen it twice, mate.
Oh my god, I have not. I'm glad. I've only ever.
I wouldn't recommend it.
I sat through it once, and it's mostly.
We're
gonna go.
I want to gouge my eyes out. This is so bad.
I really don't want to give it too much of a discussion. It does not deserve it. It's such a piece of shit.
Nothing. Right, okay, number 30 is Beach Bum.
Okay.
Maybe you remember this film a bit better.
I do a little bit. Okay, Beach Bum is a very stoned Matthew McConaughey's film that he did with Snoop Dogg recently, and he did it with in mind to try and kind of do a bit of a. He wanted with Snoop Dogg to get this big kind of weed thing going, and the entire movie ended up bombing. And it's all about Matthew McConaughey being this script writer who gets all the girls, and he doesn't quite know what to do with himself. And he has this Hunter S. Thompson Viva Las Vegas, poker visor on throughout most of the film, with long hair, with a big beard.
All of that,
kind of kills beers, drinks whiskey, smokes weed, and then has the greatest. This fantastic life kind of thing that we only dream of type thing, and he's still upset with his life.
But nothing really happens in the film, does it?
Actually happens. His wife runs off with Snoop Dogg, and you're like, oh, Snoop Dogg camera. And then Snoop
but doesn't he run off with like one of Snoop Dogg's girlfriends or something?
I really can't remember that well.
The film had these scenes that were supposed to be just nice and escapist. Like there's him dancing with one of the girls on the pier, and you're not supposed to know if it happened or not. But the whole film was made up of these. Well, of this.
It's a little bit
shit, really. It was the director didn't realise it's fine if you want to do this, but you need a basic plot to string the narrative of the film.
Yeah,
and it didn't have one.
Yeah, right.
Stuff happened and it ended.
Nothing's actually based on it. Like none of the people actually exist. Everyone's pretending to be somebody else in a world that.
Except Snoop Dogg, who is Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg's basically just Snoop Dogg, as he is in most of his other films. But yeah, that's pretty much all of Beach Bum and what happens in Beach Bum. Matthew McConaughey trying to sell his book, and
fuck it, let's go to the next one. It's just
that's
shit.
shit. Okay, that was number 30, Beach Bum. Number 29, we have a cult classic. It is the one, the only Samurai Cop.
Samurai Cop. It's racist.
Start of 10.
It's fucking racist. This guy is supposed to be like raised in Japan by samurai masters. And
any of that through his character,
but he uses these racist terms for Asian people. If you watch it now on Amazon Prime or something, they've dubbed over all the racist stuff.
Yeah, so he calls this Japanese.
He calls a guy geek instead. You can imagine what he said.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cringy.
So there's no samurai stuff in it. Basically, all the fight scenes are guy shoots at him. He ducks around the corner to get out of the way. Shoots the guy, goes down the corridor, next thing happens. So there's no setup or intensity.
Shoot at them, they dodge, they come back into the frame, bad guy comes out again, they shoot the bad guy dies, they move on to the next bit. Like that's the entire movie
Yeah, it's the entire movie, really.
Start to
There's
finish.
racist caricature, black sidekick, who says these funny things.
And our main character as well, with the long hair as well, talks to women in ways that are it's a revelation. I've never seen anything like it, really.
Utterly demeaning. In no century would you get away with it. It's just fucking bizarre.
Women just go, look, their actors just go along with it. They just go like, yes, I will bang you after you've said all those horrible things to me.
It's the hospital scenes. So basically, the sidekick nearly dies. He's outside the hospital, and there's a nurse who starts speaking to him, and just straight in goes, "Do you like what you see?" And he's going along with it, and she grabs his cock in the corridor of his hospital,
just go,
and basically says like,
good lump. Yeah.
I don't know the exact line, but it's like, "You're not big enough. Have you been circumcised?" And he's like, "No, it's all there." And he goes, I don't. And then they talk about something else, utterly irrelevant to what just passed, and they part ways, and that just ends. And we have this moment like, wind that back. Did we miss something here? And no, that was the thing that happened in front of us. Yeah. Like, what? Why are we watching this?
Yeah, you'll finish the film going,
that was a total waste.
Happened.
That was a total waste of my time and intelligence.
Absolutely.
Okay, there's something symbolic about this film. This is our number 29, so we're now officially in the bad side. The bad side of the list.
Films are about to get
so everything we have discussed, that was actually good bad.
Yeah.
This is bad. There's nothing to take from Samurai Cop. It's a huge waste of your time. You can feel it killing your brain cells.
Our critical eye and ability to pinpoint
anything positive.
I'm about to say, anything.
It's going to become a real struggle, isn't it?
It will become a lot more difficult because these are really going to get to. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Anyway,
the barrel has a lot of shit at the bottom. Yeah.
Absolutely. Racist, odd, and nothing to do with samurais. We have, moving on to number 28, the remake of a cult classic horror movie, originally starring Christopher Lee, was The Wickerman.
Number 28, The Wickerman.
Starring Nicolas Cage. And this is this is definitely one
it's a paradox, this film, isn't it? Because the things it wants you to vie for, you don't. You want the villagers to kill Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, a little bit of backstory on this movie is that when this movie was released, there was a lot of humdrum about it. People going to watch it and being very disappointed.
Utterly dire.
In the trailer, there was this scene that was featured where Nicolas Cage had this funnel placed on top of his head in the long theatrical trailer. A funnel was placed on top of his head. And they hold him down, and then they pour bees into the funnel through the top of his head, and then he goes, "No, not the bees, not the bees! Oh no, the bees! They're in my eyes! They're in my eyes! Oh god, the bees!" And then that's how he dies. Is supposedly
so we were looking forward to at least Nicolas Cage getting killed by bees at the end.
Out act, being slowly killed by loads of killer bees, and the bees need all they can get in bad movies because there have been a lot of bad press.
Yeah, I mean, the swarm, hundreds of thousands died. I mean, this is a chance for the bees to get even.
Absolutely. By getting Nicolas Cage off camera. We're rooting for the Hymenoptera on this one. Anyway, so we got all the way, the entirety, 100% of the way through this film. The credits roll, and that scene wasn't even in the film.
How dare they get away with it? They made us watch all of that.
Through 3 versions, and not one of them, all of them were different. Not one of them contained that scene. One of them was the extended version.
We don't know how it existed.
No, but it's in one of the trailers, and if you look for that scene on YouTube, it does exist. So you can find it if you want to see the ridiculousness. But basically, the story short is that he's this.
What's that? It's just come up.
Pardon?
Someone's just come up there. Sorry.
No, we're all good.
Comment at the right. I want to make sure the mics are okay.
Oh, good lord! He's talking. The person is actually talking about the Titanic film.
Oh, nice one. I'm glad someone's listening. Well, we assume that no one's listening right
There's
now.
2 people listening live right now, my friend.
Oh, well done, mate. Cheers.
As well. It was right. So the film though, the Wickerman, he's meant to be the scientist or child psychiatrist or something like that, and he's meant to be saving one particular person, and he's been hired. He's been hired by the the people on the island
to look for some missing girl, aren't they?
Absolutely, and we're meant to be, as an audience, rooting for him against the creepy people.
And he goes around and he's just shockingly rude to everyone.
Yeah, he's just a bit of a dick, really, and the whole island seems like they're actually it's okay. They've got a school, and it's all old-fashioned, and they're kind of like Amish people almost, but bees. They're like Amish bee people.
They kept bees. You'd think it'd be a nice pastoral community, and it was probably fine until Nicolas Cage came along.
Absolutely, and then he just comes in, turns everything upside down, and then you know what they do? They get sick of him, and then this is how we looked at it. They get really sick of him, so they have a festival like fuck you, Nicolas Cage, and they break his legs, and then put him inside of a huge wicker man's head, and they set fire to it, and that's the end of the film.
Sadly, that was still a quicker death than him getting killed by bees, but it's somewhat satisfying.
We wanted to watch the bee death,
and we still knew we were never going to watch this film again.
That was The Wicker Man at number 28.
Number 20. Oh god!
A recent one. Hang on. We expected a lot more from this movie. the title was so fun looking. We're like, yes.
We knew this was going to be like the Lawrence of Arabia of bad films from the title.
This film has been referenced as a cult classic in so many other.
It doesn't even deserve it.
It's such a terrible waste of trash. It really is, and it's like been multi-cut as well. Okay, anyway, I'm way late at the point here.
Okay, what's the name of that film?
At number 27, ladies and gentlemen, we have They Saved Hitler's Brain.
I admit it was my idea to watch this film, right?
They Saved Hitler's Brain. You may know it from the Simpsons episode where they saved Lisa's brain and numerous other little spotlight throwbacks to and
how do we go into it? Okay, so it's set in a fictional South American country.
Slow.
My interpretation of it is obviously after the fall of Berlin, the Third Reich had some serious budget cuts, and basically the whole Third Reich is now 4 blokes in cheap Nazi uniforms, Hitler's brain, and 1 car. It's all that exists.
Hugo Boss really left them at this.
Is all that exists of the German war machine. But they're convinced they're going to take over the world.
Absolutely convinced. Oh, we fucking got this, boys. We're going to release poisons, and they're going to release this poisonous gas on this town of people, and they're all like all up for it. And even Hitler's head, which is this constant distraction in the back of the car, is looking at everyone like, why is this the plan? Why are we doing this?
Hitler's head looks utterly mystified about where he is. He's in a jar in the back of the car, like.
And and occasionally we have flashbacks to him barking orders in a laboratory, and then they cut his head off.
But clearly, like after he'd lost his body, he's a bit depressed. He's got nothing else to say, and he wants to die. But these guys are keeping him alive because they need him for some reason, even though he's no fucking use. He's just a head in the jar.
Standard, really. It's a standard, and they're the bearers at this point. They're just kind of like waving him like a flag into battle, and he doesn't really want anything to do with this. Hitler's kind of had enough of the fast life.
So guys, it's 1968. Just let
everyone get high.
Let the Soviets be the bad guys now. I've had enough of this.
Go to the Grateful Dead concert already, for the love of Christ, Jesus.
But what else can we talk about?
That's kind of really the end of the film.
That's it.
So basically, we come to this cabin at the end of the movie whereby they're trying to escape. The 4 bad Nazi guys with Hitler's brain in the car are trying to get into this bunker where they can release this secret, horrible cyanide gas upon the local town. And
you think they need to get more supporters first before they try this? But
yeah, absolutely. So it's 4 in Hitler's brain versus 7 rather eager people who are all armed with hand grenades, and they just kind of hurl. They've got like 15 hand grenades.
It's actually pretty easy.
Yeah, and they just destroy them. Like they didn't stand a chance. They just throw the hand grenade.
What is a head in the jar going to do?
Bunker, and it takes ages for them to do this as well. They could have just thrown it into the middle, the moment because they all like arrive on the scene at the same time, and the people that are protagonists are watching them do it. If they just hurled 1 grenade in there at the beginning, it would have killed them all. But instead, we spend ages with the plane, and they get worried about it, and they're going to take. And then eventually, the film ends with this. The ending shot is Hitler's head in the jar. In the back of this car, the getaway vehicle, and Hitler's head just melts, and it's just like occasionally cuts back and forth between the good guys and the bad guys, and Hitler's head just melts.
Needless to say, it's not scary or interesting, and the only thing it made that it was reminding me of is sometimes we pick the titles of these bad films as if they're going to be interesting, and they always manage to even avoid doing that.
Yeah, there's nothing really interesting or
There's nothing really going on.
Yeah, particularly attractive about this movie at all. And I would...
Do you want me to cross it off?
Yeah, please. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, for the love of God. Okay.
Number 26.
We have at number 26 this one was rather painful just because it was quite long and it was a bit odd as well. But it was meant to be a historical biopic of the very late great baseballer Babe Ruth. So at number 26,
for a biopic,
we have the Babe Ruth story.
Yeah, for a biopic, it's utterly removed from reality.
1948, we have a famous scene in it, which has been taken from quite a few films. Sorry, been used by quite a few. By quite a. God, he's going to me now. Which has been taken and used by quite a few movies. Which is the scene where it goes, "Oh, jeepers, mister, could you?" You know, the dying kid in hospital, where Babe Ruth is leaning over him, and the kid asks Babe Ruth, "Would you, before I die from this horrible disease, could you hit a home run for me?" And he goes, "Oh golly, I'll hit 3 for you," you know. And then he does it, and then the kid lives as a result of him hitting the home runs. And that's really a story.
He's magic. Even the father announces that he's been magically cured of his cancer, and he gets out of the bed and he's like, "I'm walking, Daddy. It's a miracle."
There's probably quite a few Babe Ruth fans out there that probably actually know the real history of Babe Ruth, but right at the end of the movie, there's one nice bit.
I'm pretty sure Babe Ruth didn't magically cure anyone of cancer though from scoring home runs.
I think the very last hit that I may be talking out my arse on this, and I hope somebody in the comment section does correct me on this, but I think the last thing that he ever does though in the movie is that he does hit a home run. That's the last hit that he ever did, because I think he was traded or something like that, and then his contract made him stay with
but in real life he just became a massive alcoholic, so couldn't hold his shit together at all.
He couldn't really retire, he wasn't allowed to, so they just kind of had to play baseball for this one team. I don't really think
this guy fucking sucks now.
Yeah, he was a little bit of a metaphorical white elephant for the team, as a player.
They were hoping he'd look good on the posters, I suppose, and now he's just some fat, bloated, sweaty, red-faced dude.
Jogging around. Oh, God,
remember me?
The 500th time.
I'm Babe Ruth, I'm the hero. Yeah. Jesus Christ, mate, you're Babe Ruth. Fuck me, you're bad.
Yeah, anyway.
Sort your shit out.
The film ends, though, with him hitting the home run, and it's quite a nice...
Thank God, let's retire him now.
And let's retire this film as well. Thank you very much.
It was awful.
Number 26, the Babe Ruth story, 1948, and we move on to number 25.
Number 25, our first M. Night Shyamalan film.
5 away from finishing this episode. Good Lord.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
That was quicker than last time.
Yeah, that was a lot quicker. Number 25, we have The Happening, directed by M. Night Shamalamadingdong, who has gone down grossly on our estimates, because I actually liked The Sixth Sense. I actually thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, that's it. He's a great example of a one-hit wonder director. He proved that this could happen once for a director, and you can fuck up everything you do after it. The Happening is a great example of this. So basically, there's some virus going around that makes people find the quickest way to kill themselves. They suddenly become unapproachable, can't talk them out of it, and they find the quickest, most inefficient way to kill themselves. So instead of this film being a horror, it's really funny. In between, it's
so funny.
You have to.
This is why I'm having this one. Okay, so this one guy, and he kills himself. So he's riding a John Deere lawnmower,
and he's having a good time out in the garden,
probably corn.
Then something changes. He's like,
changes.
Fuck it.
Comes on, and he's like, fuck this, and he gets off his John Deere as it's turning. And then just walks in front of it and lies down on the lawn in front of it,
fuck this, fuck everything, fuck this grass.
He just lets the John Deere just roll over himself and mulches the shit out of him.
And he's completely straight-faced, I've made up my mind, this is how I'm going.
And he does it legs up. So it must
I wanted to feel
so painful and
I want to feel my legs, my bollocks ripped off before I actually die.
I feel my nipples being flung off and twisted into oblivion.
Thrown into different areas of the garden. It was a hilarious death.
It was so yeah, and as a film, I think is it Mark Wahlberg, wasn't it? I think he's in the film. And there's a plane that goes down as well as a result of like this, it zooms into the ventilation system. And we're pretty sure that it's something in the breeze, but nothing at all. The reason why it's so terrible, one of the reasons why it's so terrible, there's many, is because of the fact that they never tell you or let you know, because I think they have the audacity to attempt to sequel this piece of trash in the future, or plan to. So,
what happened? It was a really good film.
They never tell you or let loose what is actually the culprit behind these mysterious changes of heart between.
There's a loose backstory, like ants do it. There's something that happens to the ants, and it makes them just fly off the end of trees. That was it. Otherwise, it just happened by happening.
Yeah,
and then it ended,
and no one cared.
The film just happened.
There you go. And that's all
we watched it, and we never wanted to watch it again.
Fuck this movie.
Fuck this movie.
Yeah, right, that was 25. M. Night Shyamalan happening.
Oh god, this was a stinker.
Stop
it. Let's fix the drinks again.
Drink. We've got 5 movies left before the end of this wonderful podcast. This has been much more enjoyable. We should have gone the hard liquor the first fucking time around. We're going to need something really strong for the next fucking 20 bastards we're going to have to get through.
Yeah, I'm up for something that may kill me.
Oh my god, we're going to have to do...
Let's go into the shed. I'm sure there's something that'll be strong enough to talk about the worst film ever made.
Gin and tonic.
I was thinking like straight ethanol.
Absinthe. Ether.
Because I write a list before I do these, and if I have to look at the title of this film, I'll need to be blind to be able to do it.
Have a handkerchief and a demigong jar full of ether.
It will make me want to end myself like that bloke in The Happening. I'll start talking about it, and I'll go, fuck it.
Your dead grandmother will be crawling up your neck up your leg with a knife and a clutch between her teeth, to quote Hunter S. Thompson. The devil ether. Makes you behave and feel like the village drunk.
I'm pouring it from the teapot, so it looks a bit more else.
How dare you? Okay, let's top up a little bit here with some double cream, fresh.
It's funny how, knowing the next film we're going to discuss, it takes the motivation for small talk out of me. We're at the stage now where we can't take this that pleasantly.
It takes us a little bit of a run-up before we actually have to get to some of these movies.
I have to admit,
it really does take it out of you. If you've watched the amount of these that we have, and then you're trying to do them in the volume that we're doing them in, it's quite difficult. Like I think you have to take into consideration before actually, embarking upon this journey is how big it is.
Yeah, I feel as if like after watching those Neil Breen films, I will never feel, like the depth, so much more depth of love ever again.
Yeah,
like,
I will never love again.
My empathy has died from watching Neil Breen because you take on a bit of Neil Breen. That's
weird.
You don't want him to affect you like he does. And he does. It really messes you up.
Okay, right. Cheers, Ross. Absolute bloody pleasure, darling. Once more onto the breach, dear friend.
No one has always good this
wall with our
Neil Breeny dead.
Very large.
Right. So, Will, what's number 24?
Oh,
I've forgotten.
Oh, no, you haven't. Don't lie. Okay, at number 24, ladies and gentlemen, we have, unfortunately, Jack and Jill, featuring Adam Sandler pretending to be a woman and himself in exactly the same movie. So he plays both himself and his sister.
Both are intensely annoying.
But you dislike everybody in the movie, really. There's nobody really that's actually that likable. Oh my god! And I tell you what we forgot about, that we did not mention last time, was Al Pacino.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, please type in Jack and Jill Al Pacino Dunkin' Donuts advert, and you won't be disappointed. You just won't.
You'll be disappointed in Al Pacino.
And it's the only reason you'll ever need to watch the movie. And some wonderful person would have extrapolated.
How low will this guy go for a paycheck?
Absolutely, and would have put it on YouTube. Poor old Al Pacino when stark bollock naked into misfortune on this one. It really was a fall from grace.
So, Jill is Jack's estranged sister. She visits him for Thanksgiving, and she's intensely annoying. But, of course, they try and turn it into a sweet subplot where let's help Jill find love, and she meets Al Pacino.
On a cruise.
Fuck, I hate this movie.
Pretty terrible, really.
What else happens?
Nothing
It's full of
really
disgusting fart jokes. They seem to be trying to make it more and more irritating as it's going along.
Yeah.
Like really trying to find new ways to get under your skin.
They have these moments where the character will do something very annoying, and then somebody like the son of the main character will hate on them, and then that character will go all sulky and disappear off into the woods, and then the soothing, melodic, unfortunate, sad music will play, like the "Don't be so nasty to them," and then and as an audience, you don't care. You're glad that somebody stood up to this annoying ass individual that was ruining the time. For
I literally want to Wickerman every character in it.
Character in this movie.
Poor bees on them.
Every character. This movie is so much better with bees.
Yeah, let's take out all the bees in the swarm and made them try and attempt this movie, and it would have been hilarious.
We haven't actually brought that up before, actually. Thank you very much. I think that we should actually I've just had a revelation on this podcast.
We should be
Every movie after the swarm would have been so much better if they poured thousands of bees without the cast knowing.
And just filmed it.
Just let it go. Just let the camera roll.
And it would have been much more worthwhile.
Everyone would have watched it. Everyone would have watched it. But no, nobody watched it because there was no bees.
We watched it.
Everyone was terribly acting, and no one cared. The script was shit, and Al Pacino just was pissing.
It had no humour. It was just trying to find something to be funny.
Al Pacino was
and Adam Sandler seems to be very at home doing really tasteless, crude comedy. And it's just...
The only thing I would have wanted to see about this entire movie was the contract. I would have wanted to see what made...
Someone was paid a lot of money.
What happened,
guys? It bombed.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. Anyway, that was Jack and Joe. We end up on a cruise, and there's meant to be this big feel-good thing, and then we kind of get on to...
We kind of didn't give a shit. Don't give a shit.
We were very glad when the credits rolled and turned the TV off immediately, and...
I had to run myself over the lawnmower just to get rid of the memory.
I had to pour thousands of bees at my own butthole and all this anything after watching that piece of shit. Fuck that movie. Oh, that was number 24. We have another big straight from the frying pan into the fire. Oh,
let me try this one.
Okay.
Does anyone remember when we first got computers and we played the Elf bowling game?
Does anyone remember Elf Bowling Online?
Do you remember it wasn't very good even back then?
Did you ever spend an hour and a half of your life playing Elf Bowling?
We all did. It's fine.
Well, if you did
you ever want to watch a movie about it?
If you did spend an hour and a half of your life playing Elf Bowling, it would have been much more entertaining than actually watching the film, and you would have learned more about Elf Bowling itself.
It has some really ugly animation. Like, they seem to know no one was going to watch this. So it's full of dirty jokes, even though it's supposed to be for kids.
As well. It's got nothing on Food
Fight. Oh, it's way better than Food Fight. Don't even go there.
Miles better than Food
Fight. And it's not full of Nazi shit like Food Fight.
Yeah, and it's not trying to sell itself to kids. You're like, hey, kids, here's a load of Nazi memorabilia brought to life.
Kids love Nazis.
with a poor Charlie Sheen.
But if anyone wants to get any Nazi shit out of any of these bad films, maybe you should settle with They Saved Hitler's Brain.
Or Food Fight.
No, that is just soul sucking.
Yeah, I know, but it's good if you want Nazi shit.
Really grotesque. Also, it's far too sexually charged for kids.
Oh god, I forgot about
Food Fight is one of the worst films ever made. We're going to go on to that.
Forget about a lot of shit in these movies because you block it out. Your brain is forced to just... Anyway, let's
fuck that film. Fuck it. We've got another episode. Do we have to go on to that? So
no, but fuck Elf Bowling. We've spoken enough about it. Like we talked about the online thing. Fuck it. Right, that was 23 Elf Bowling. Now we move on to the second film of M. Night Shamalamadingdong on our list, which was his portrayal and besmirchment, foul and
it's heresy. It's heresy.
For this great and wonderful series that has brought so much life and wonderment and mysterious education of finding a comfortable, truthful, wonderful pillow in this world to rest your head upon in order to find any form of, like sort of like moral source code within life. It is a very nice and wonderful place to get that, in general.
But not this film.
This film did not do that and forgot to obey all of those principal rules and just did it for the money. It really obeyed no
Badly.
principles of creating that. It was rushed and poor, and it even had one or two quite all-star characters in it, but it had nothing to do with the original plot. It had they skate over all of the necessary facts, which allow you to break apart obtain any form of understanding of the wonderful world that this is set in.
I didn't understand anything that was going on.
And all the characters are poorly scripted and
Acted.
And deliver their lines rather poorly as well, which because they don't know what they're doing. Nobody knows what they're doing.
They turned up. What the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
You're the Earth people. You have to dance around like this. Okay, like that. That's perfect. Okay.
Yeah. If you're not watching this right now, ladies and gentlemen, and then
I'm doing some stupid moves
Ross
because the film is pretty stupid.
But yeah, if you're a fan of Avatar, Avatar: The Last Airbender,
don't watch this as well, because there's all stuff constantly happening. He's trying to fit an entire film series in 1 2-hour film.
Yeah.
By literally crushing it into the film.
He squeezes this,
and they're ending up establishing absolutely nothing about what's going on. Who the hell gave him this much money?
And who the hell is any character in this movie?
Who the hell is M. Night Shyamalan?
Apart from the fact that you know that it's Prince Zuko and Aang. That's all the characters that you actually know, and then you don't quite know.
That's only from watching the series as well.
And I know that because of the series, and I know that their names kind of get mentioned. But then as well, they also have like characters like Uncle Iroh, who's one of the key characters in terms of imparting knowledge and wisdom. That they just kind of skate over any form of giving him his due care and attention as a character. Anyway, I think we've throttled this piece of shit.
It's basically like being hit in the face with a load of fire magic.
Yeah, whilst you're contained within the ground from earth moving, and then somebody splashing you in the face with ice cold water bending, and
with that big furry creature trying to mount you.
Oh yeah, sorry. Upper is also simultaneously trying to. He's like great,
and you can't get rid of him, and you're gonna have to go through with it.
Upper has been tied down and has watched Showgirls and Matt Pussy on repeat for 10 hours,
and decided maybe I should give this a go.
Absolutely, and then is trying to bang you. Anyway, I think we've defiled.
That's how it feels watching this film.
What we have just done right there is defile it half as much as M. Night Shyamalan did.
He's managed to do an even worse job of it than we could describe.
Yeah. Don't watch it. On to the next movie. That was number 22, The Last Airbender.
Right, our last film for tonight is number 21.
It is
the Super Mario Brothers movie.
First off, we just want to apologise momentarily just to anybody that grew up loving this, because it is a bit of a...
You're wrong if you grew up loving this. You're wrong.
It has Dennis Hopper in it playing Bowser. And what's his name? The guy from
does it matter?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? And Brazil, the guy that comes in to fix his flat. We'll be back.
Robert De Niro?
No. Robert De Niro comes in and helps them after they go.
Oh right, yeah. There you
do your paperwork. All right, we'll be back.
That's a great film.
Yeah, that's awesome. That movie. Anyway, why did I get rid of that this time? Yeah, the Super Mario Brothers movie. It is a odd amalgamation of Super Mario Brothers themed, which has been supercharged into some odd biker themed version of everything that is Super Mario orientated, and kind of like over grittified, and then had a horrible mask put over it, and then done in this classic kind of...
It's hard to define, isn't it?
Garbage pail kids.
It's like Batman Begins meets... It's not even...
not Batman Begins. No,
That's too good. What was the shit Batman? With Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, I know. Batman Forever. I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Batman Forever with the bat ass and bat nipples.
Yep.
Yeah.
With sort of Super Mario Brothers, but none of it is very Mario at all, is it?
Yeah. It looks like I think it's Joel Schumacher that directed it. It looks like Joel Schumacher has just gone to town on the prosthetics, and
he thought it was like all dark and edgy.
Yeah, cool man.
It's not cool. Basically, it has two plumbers stalking this girl around New York City for some bit, for part of it, don't they?
Yeah, and occasionally get shots back to poor old Dennis Hopper, who a little bit like Waterworld, which I actually like Waterworld, I'm afraid. I like Waterworld. Fuck you.
I'll give you that. It's not
had
nice.
Max and Water, and it had lots of money in it, and I kind of like the whole thing that all the bad guys are run by Dennis Hopper on a tanker ship.
It's no Jeremy Irons.
On an oil tanker that's filled with cigarettes, and they're like called the Smokers or something like that. It's quite cool. The premise of it was really good, but it was nowhere near as good as films it could have or should have been.
But the Super Mario Brothers movie,
was nowhere near as good a movie as it really could have even attempted to be. We were very disappointed by it.
It's hard to know really how you would do a movie of it, but you wouldn't do it like this.
We did engage with it at the beginning with optimistic hopes, and they were dashed quite harsh. And I do remember watching it as a kid and feeling like it was quite weird, but I enjoyed like one or two bits of it, and then I kind of finished it, and I was like, I like every time it would come on TV, I would just turn it off. I wouldn't watch it. I'd be very.
They would put it on TV.
Oh yeah, quite a few times.
Well, they
two films on this list actually appear on TV.
What?
Oh yeah, dude. Wow. On TV, bro. Anyway, I think that rounds it off for us today.
There's nothing we can add for the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Super Mario Brothers movie. Thank you so much, though, for joining us on this.
Let's So first of all, how long have we been going? Let's check that right now.
We are 1 hour 26 minutes in there.
We have roughly 4 minutes to wrap it up.
Yeah.
What did you think about this third of the list, Will?
It was a lot more enjoyable than the first take that we did of it. It was a lot more.
I'm surprised.
And it was. I almost feel like it was a bit more enjoyable almost in the first section that we did actually, just because of the fact that we had these to wash it down with. I feel like we put a lot more effort into the presentation of this one.
Totally necessary. I mean,
really going full bore.
When we were around sort of Beach Bum, Samurai Cop, I was like, I can feel this hurting. But we got over that.
Yeah, we did have a little bit of a trough.
We're in a much better mood than the first take we did. We had to play back the first take. That's when we realised it wasn't working, to find out, does this have its effect? Or do we just sound so depressing that everyone watching this is going to turn off? And we were like, it's so dark, maybe you can get a laugh out of it, but it was certainly not enjoyable for us.
No, I mean, we kind of our structure was nowhere near as good as well. I felt the first time that we did this. This take was certainly a lot better, and I feel like
we're a lot more apprehensive about doing this part of the list.
I think we should go through the next list once, actually, before we even podcast it. Let's go.
Do you want me to just reel through what's the years coming up? Do you mean?
Oh, I was going to say actually off camera, so we can leave it as a surprise.
All right.
We could do maybe the next 5 on the list. We can give a hint of what our next 5 are going to be off camera. If you're still with us and you're staying with us for this long, then you deserve to hear what you're going to be hearing up next. Anyway, so I'll do one. You do one. All right. So next on our list that we're going to be kicking off next next episode is To Catch a Yeti.
I felt sick.
To Catch a Yeti, which I don't think we actually finished.
It's a Meatloaf film.
Oh yeah, it was terrible. I don't barely remember. It was
Terror Comes to Tiny Town, which has the tagline featuring an all midget cast. I don't need to repeat that.
I'm probably going to skate across that one because it's going to be like walking on eggshells trying to discuss that one as much.
We have to admit that we watched it.
There's going to be a few other the problems with a lot of these other ones is that they get very racist, and the problems with them is that they get very racist, very rapey, and very uncomfortable to watch, which is why they're going to be so uncomfortable to talk about.
And why they're so bad, frankly.
And why they're so bad.
You don't watch a film to go through that, do you?
Absolutely not. Anyway, okay, and next we have Leprechaun 5 in the Hood. Well, no,
that's disgusting. That.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who regard it as a cult classic, and
it's
kind
not
of like in the macabre zone. But I really disliked it. I felt quite.
We have another Nicolas Cage film. I think it's his worst on the list.
Let my judgmental side take full effect. This is the reason why the list exists, is to get as much of our inner judgmental side out as is humanly possible.
It had to be attempted, and if you wanted to know the worst film ever made, you've got to attempt films like Left Behind, which is just shit.
Oh, that was
utterly shit.
Really disappointing. And then the one after that, which is American Hippie in Israel, which was actually
very weird. Very weird.
Weird.
It shows you the worst aspects of 1960s counterculture very finely. It does do that.
It really breaks down like why
it failed and why you wouldn't ask for that again.
Yeah, like
I didn't think that until I watched this film.
As if they're filming the dregs of hippies, like
the real brainless bit. And
finally on the list we have
the Klansman.
Yeah, the Klansman.
Basically, if you want to,
we're going to really go into this one because it actually.
Let's go. Let's talk. If we're going to go roughly, imagine you're watching a great actor drink himself to death whilst the film is being shot
on screen.
That's what the Klansman is.
Yeah.
No, that's what we're going to mention about. Actually, that's it. The rest is for.
It's for next time.
It's for next time.
And we've just hit the 30 mark on there. So I just want to say thank you ever so much for watching this slightly shorter but more compact and concise episode of Viscoli Conversations with my guest Ross. Thank you so much for coming on.
That's all right, mate.
Part 2. And
I would have preferred to have done this in 15 minutes just to reel it off, but it's happened now. There's a record and we never need to talk about it.
We are never going to be doing this one again unless we actually end up discussing it in a fine conversation with somebody else.
You couldn't pay me money to go through this list again.
It depends on how much money.
Would you like to discuss a film called Movie 43 for money? Would you watch it for money?
Depends how much money.
Would you watch the Forbidden Film for money?
If I'm getting paid a lot of money.
Fuck no, it's about ethics. I'm never watching that film ever again. Not for money. Not for all the happiness in the world. Could you replace the sinking feeling of watching that film?
£10,000. And not a penny less. £9,999. I would not do it for. But £10,000.
How many times have you watched it?
What, the official version of it? I've only ever watched it once.
Yeah, me. And the knockoff version, which is also the worst film ever made.
I've only watched it once. So painful.
So twice.
Okay. Right. Anyway, thank you ever so much, everybody.
That's it. It's over.
Yeah, it's over. Well done. You made it through with us, and thank you so much.
Bye bye.
For being with us. Take care, and we'll see you on the next episode of Viscoli Conversations.